Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another Total War Pharaoh Dynasties guide, and today we're going to be covering battlefields. So we're going to be using this custom battle to go ahead and showcase some of this. I built out two armies that have a decent amount of variety of units to kind of show how these battles would play out. The first thing you want to do is in the campaign map, there's going to be a compass on the left-hand side when you initiate or get attacked, and you can click on that and it'll pop open the map like this. And so really, first of all, I want to cover how to read the map. So these shadows indicate where there's elevation, so these lighter areas are going to be higher up, associated to these darker areas that are going to be more of your slopes. Then you have your forest here, your tall grass, kind of your mountain dividers, and so kind of understanding how to read this map, knowing where to place your troops. For example, chariots do worse in the forest, so you may want to fight them in there. Also, there's missile block chance increased by 40% for those in the forest. However, they can also light these trees on fire. So understanding where you're at on the map is going to be first the crucial thing. This game, more than others, is all about map placement and strategy. There have definitely been some times where I've had just a bunch of light units pull heavy units into the mud and just slaughter them. So really using that to your advantage, and I'll show you exactly how to tell the debuffs and buffs that those units get within these different terrains. Additionally, there's also a weather component here that we'll get into, and we'll just go ahead and start this battle. So I first want to say while this is loading, thanks everybody for the love of the channel. Really appreciate all the kind words and feedback, both positive and negative, on what you all want to see. So leave a comment below if you want me to cover anything else in particular, but as mentioned, I'm here for it. So let me know how I can help. Okay. So again, taking a look at the weather, we kind of randomly rolled this, but we can see that it starts off dry and then transitions into rain. Now, if you are attacking on a campaign battle, you will be able to take a look and randomly say, you have like 3 chances to randomly adjust the weather, okay? So you got to kind of roll and see what you get. All right, that said, let's quickly go over the UI. Up on the left-hand side here, one thing you might want to be conscious of is that there are options, and you can go to game, and then you can select default guard mode and default skirmish mode. So I like to turn default skirmish mode off. This just makes it so that my units don't flee, my range units don't flee if people get in range. So just understand that you have these options here to start, similar to like default run. Okay. Other things to be aware of course, this is the weather what we just covered. This is going to be your balance of power depending on your troop count. This will shift vice versa. If you're playing on Legendary, this will not be available. Up in the right-hand corner here, where my webcam is currently covering, you'll see a tactical map click. You can hit tab to activate that, and then you can hit tab to bring you back down to the battlefield. Similarly, you can scroll out with your mouse wheel and zoom in accordingly. Okay, also on this right-hand side, you'll see unit count, and then that just is the amount of units that you have here, as far as like army units, and then how many troops are associated with those. There's also this toggle unit camera, which will give you like a over-the-shoulder shot if you want to get some cool like panoramic or cinematics. Additionally, you can collapse this map on the right-hand side that I'm currently covering, so sorry about that, but you will see an up or down arrow, and then you can also click and drag to resize this map if you utilize it very much. Okay. Other than that, looking at the bottom where we have our army panel, you are able to toggle this army panel up and above. Clicking on a unit, it will show you whether to toggle unit speed, melee mode, halt or group, or toggle guard mode off. So one thing I do like to do is get my units and set them up to I'll hold in control and hit 1. That will group them up. Another thing you can do is double click on a unit type. You can hold in control and double click on them, and it will select all of that unit type. So instead of just clicking one individually, you can go hold in control and double click, and then you can, group these up if you'd like. Okay. Now, what we want to do here is kind of set up, and real quickly we're just going to cover these stances. And so you have these stances, whether that's advance, hold, or give ground. Just familiarize yourself with the different types of infantry, and even like archers, for example, have different ammo types and arrow types that you can toggle between based upon what you need. Alright, the next thing I want to show you is understanding what terrain these guys are good in. So you can go ahead and select a unit here, for example, these medium infantry, and you can hover over some terrain, and it will show you just information about how this would debuff them, right? So heavy infantry actually does a little bit worse in charging in the forest. Chariots, if I hover over the forest, melee attack, speed, acceleration, melee defense. So this is just an example to show how the terrain really can affect some units. Okay, moving around on the battle map real quick, you can double click and that will kind of quick bounce you around. You can just use your WASD keys to also navigate. You can hold in shift while you do that to speed it up. Okay, and that covers the movement side of things. Map UI we talked about. Now let's go into Battlefield's speed settings on the upper right hand corner. You can pause, slow motion, play at regular speed, fast forward a little bit, and fast forward even more so. As you get started, you may want to consider doing some slow motion sometimes. As we fight this battle, I'll do a little bit of slow-mo just so I can kind of explain what I'm doing. Alright, tactical map. By getting into that tactical map by pressing tab, one thing I do like to do here is utilize this by holding in the spacebar. This is going to show you the range of fire for your infantry or your missile troops, and similarly you'll be able to see that with your enemy as well too. So just kind of using this to kind of judge the zones of where you're going to be engaging with. Okay. Additionally, what you can see here are these light spots as opposed to this dark. This is really just saying this is your visibility. So if I, for example, here am to hide behind, this visibility really reduces. Okay. So just knowing if you can't see them, the enemy can't see you. So visibility plays a big role in here. Okay. Clicking on this toggle unit details tab, you can learn more about your units and also what they're able to do. So this one, for example, can hide in forest. So setting them up there, you can see this icon. Now it turns to hide. Okay. As far as the unit card goes, you have his stamina or fatigue. Fresh is great, and as he starts to get tired out, whether it goes to yellow or red, he will lose stats and also face some morale debuffs there. Armor at 100% currently, that's how you start. There are armor breakers like this, for example, which are going to be your club units that are good at breaking armor down. The lower percentage of armor, the easier the units are to kill. So for example, spears don't have that. Well, these guys do because they're nasty. But say for example, like these spears, guards of Troy, they don't have armor break, right? So just having a variety of units in your armies is a good call. Some to break the armor, some to just slay, some fast units, some archer units, of course, depending on your faction. You may be built out a little bit heavier to one side than the other. So like Amaness may have more archers than he has like skirmishing units, for example, or javelins. All right, that said, let's go ahead and get started here.
We've trained for this.
Yes, you have. Let's go ahead and just kind of set up to start. And we are going to be attacking, so we will need to initiate. So typical things, you want you want these guys here, kind of more of your flanking force. Archers are good, kind of behind your front line. These guys are kind of your miscellaneous units, your all-arounders. I do like to keep the generals out. Let's go ahead and get started here. Okay. Now, one thing I want to show you is if you click on a unit and then see these icons that come out, this will tell you their threat level. Okay. Also, you'll be able to kind of hover over this and see their morale, which is this green flag, and they're happy because they're eager. That means they're fresh, and their flanks are secure. Flanking is a big part of this game in the battle, so you always want to be conscious of not blobbing, using your armies to flank, and really just if you're in like a straight line, for example, find out who's not activated on that straight line, those shields that aren't kind of keeping the armies fixed, and then use them to push through, and then wrap around and envelop the armies. Okay, holding down spacebar, I can also now see where the range of fire is for these slingers. I'll go ahead and speed this up a little bit. Okay, we can see that they're firing now, so I will get into this hold stance. We'll move our archers up. We could see, because we're hidden here, I do like to also recommend scrolling down to the campaign map, just so you can kind of see some of the elevation. Like here, you might want to put some javelins and put your line guys down here a little bit more. Similarly, we'll go ahead and push up here. And now, as the archers are focusing the shields, we can go ahead and start dropping on the archers. I do like to use archers against, you know, I do like to use range units against other range units. That's also going to make them want to come in. Let's start peeling these guys out. One thing I do like to do too is, as I'm skirmishing, I like to move my archers in different positions. Okay, let's keep these guys coming back down too. Now, you want to be mindful of where they're hitting you from. Hitting you from the side with these range, and especially from behind, will do more damage. Okay, now we can go ahead and set up into shield wall formation. Go ahead and get our general up. Now, as these guys are engaged here, we can go ahead and now push. Similarly, we just don't want to clump. We can hold in shift when we have a unit selected, and then draw a route. And now let's start getting our chariots involved too. So I can hold down shift, right click and drag, and that's going to give me a route. One thing you can do, and we'll go ahead and just slow this down because this gets hectic. One thing you can do is switch to this direct shot ammunition. This will increase the lethality. Similarly, you know, we're going to want to make them pay for it. I do like to hold down the spacebar, and this kind of gives you a good idea of where your walls are at. You can get a charge here on them. You can kind of see where your enemy flanks are. Keep moving these guys around. Good charge there. Go ahead and get our lord in, or our general in. This blue circle around him is his area of influence. This will give a morale buff. And you can see, just having switched to this shot, really working on my angle here too, of just understanding where I can fire without hitting my guys. Similarly, one thing we can do here now, since this is just a smaller angle of fire, is use that spacebar to now see where these guys are at. Running through the trees here, this is great. They should be fleeing up here. Okay, now chariots are going to be really good for basically using your, you know, your back charges here to debuff your hidden runs. Having these guys run through the trees, you'll see that this is a 40% chance for missiles to be blocked. So this is really allowing us to kind of close in on them. Okay. Ominous, for example, is getting worked. One thing we want to be conscious of is not blobbing, right? So here, what we can do, now, we can go ahead and move these guys into a better location here. These chariots can come up and around. Now they are going to have a little bit of this charge speed debuff in this tall grass, so we may consider kind of looping them around this way. Okay, clearing them up, which is good. Now, really, it's all about kind of creating lanes so you can flank. So while these guys are fixed, we can go ahead and run these guys through here. I like to sometimes just like move them like this so they kind of get in. And similarly, what we can do here is just, if they do get stuck, you can oftentimes just pull through. These guys can now get the back charge here. You can see with this stamina starting to wave, you can highlight over them and see what's happening. Wavering, general recently died. As soon as I get this back charge at them, it should go ahead and tell me that attacked in the rear. Losing decisively. Broken, general recently died. I can now wrap these guys around and close in. So, you know, basically also, you know, I'm not moving 4 armies after these other guys, right? Like, I'm not being really mindful to not send, like, over-investing armies and keeping them in the fight. Okay, good shots there. So here, for example, these guys are a little clumped, so I can go ahead and kind of just move them through. and they'll go ahead and kind of push through the army, get behind them, and then close in on them. Okay, so good back charge there. You see that these guys are now broken. And that's kind of just a, you know, quick little overview of like a battle. I wanted to show you all kind of how to tell how to read the map, how to move across the map, speeding it up or whatever the case is. But, you know, hopefully that was helpful for y'all. And, you know, let me know if there's something else on these you want me to cover. All about it. Just let me know what y'all need, because I love seeing all the people getting active in another historical Total War. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.